Can you talk a little bit about the beginnings of Bloomberg LP?
Well, it came about because I got fired. I was working on Wall Street for a firm, Salomon Brothers and Hutzler, which became Salomon Brothers, which became Fibro, which became Smith Barney, which is now part of Citibank or something like that. But after 15 years there, I sort of had different views about what the company should be doing, and it was time to go, and left on great terms. We had sold the company at the same time, so they didn't have the concept of severance. Everybody says you got big severance. I didn't, but I did own a piece of the firm, and so that was over the number of years I sold that. And I used that money to go start a company. Why? I think in my case it wasn't I had this grand vision. Nobody offered me a job. I was probably too proud to go look for one. I said, well, why not start your own company? And it turned out great. I mean, I'm happy. You should get fired the same way.
And how did you have the idea for
I had at Salomon Brothers, my first job was working, first job was counting securities, because that's what you did every night, went out to the banks and came back. And then I got to the back office where you stamp tickets, and then eventually got to one of the trading desks. And one of my jobs as the junior person on the desk was to go through 10 editions of the Wall Street Journal and write down the last sale on any stock we wanted to trade. So we'd have a list, and then I went to Standard & Poor's, sold data in paper form, which I had to put in every night in alphabetical order. And then I'd get the page so we could see what the company did, and et cetera, et cetera. And I'd read about computers. And I said to the company, we could do this. And they said, well, if you want to work on it at night, fine, you're not getting any extra money or anything. You can't not do your day job, but if you want to do it. And so over a couple of years, with some help from a few other people at Salomon, a guy named Jesse Gristel and John Loughborough, I remember the names, haven't seen him in years, we went and built a computer system so that some of that data was retrievable at the touch of a button. And then later on, it built it again and made it more expansive, went into the bond business as well as the stock business. But when I got fired, I thought, there was a market for this outside of that company, and I had tried to convince them that we should sell it outside. They didn't want to do it. So I had 3 other people from the company join me. The first day, we all went home and cleaned out our files and made sure not one of us had one piece of paper left over from the old days, so nobody could ever come back and say we took anything. And then we started the company.
I read your book. You also wrote everything in a different language.
We did a number of different things so that nobody could say that we, but there was never an issue about that. And Salomon, the people that left there, even the people that fired me, all became customers and still all friends. But I went out and looked at the market and said there's a demand for exactly what we needed at Salomon Brothers, the ability to retrieve data quickly when you had to make decisions. And most of it was not in machine readable form, so we'd have to have a system to type it in. Then the data quality wasn't very good, so we had to have a system to verify the data, scrub it, if you will. We also didn't have any ways of distributing it, because when I started the company, you won't believe this, but the internet didn't exist and PCs didn't exist. And so I spent every Saturday at an engineer's barn up in Connecticut soldering resistors and capacitors into the circuit boards. We built 20-odd terminals. That's all we had money for. And then when we put them on, we got slightly bigger, we had to have some out of town. The internet didn't exist, so we would rent a line from here to Chicago. I'd go out to Chicago because I was not a software guy, I was the chief cook and bottle washer and the salesman for the company. And I'd go out and I'd find somebody who would rent us a closet. And so the phone line would terminate in the closet, and we'd buy an off-the-shelf mux so you could have 3 or 4 users connected to that line with local lines. And if it broke, I had to wait until I had time and could get a reservation on a plane and fly out and fix it. And eventually, when PCs came along, we went out of the hardware business overnight. I said, we just can't compete and don't want to be in that business. PC, we're not going to have a better PC, and that's not what we sell. We sell the ability to access the information and good information presented in a useful way, but the hardware really didn't have anything to do with it. And when the internet came along, we swapped over right away to use the internet. And it's interesting, we complain about problems, but it's infinitely better than what it was before. People don't remember.
I'll tell you a story to show you how small business really does work and what makes it work. It's people. No matter how much digital we have, people are what make businesses. It's an analog world we live in, and we use digital things. So what I did is I identified a company to go to work to be our first customer. And I went to a delicatessen every morning for close to a year. And I bought 2 cups of coffee and 2 cups of tea to go. In each case, one with milk and one without. And I went into the company that I'd identified, Merrill Lynch in that case, and I walked down the halls, and in those days there was no security, you could walk in and out of any company. And I walked down the halls and I'd see somebody sitting in their office at 6:30, 7 in the morning reading a newspaper or working, and I'd just barged in and said, "Excuse me, I'm Mike Bloomberg. I'm trying to build a relationship with Merrill Lynch because I'm trying to sell you a product that I'm building, and I bought you a cup of coffee." Well, some people didn't like the fact that I was barging into their office, and they would say something stupid like, "Well, I only drink tea." "Ah, I have tea for you." "Oh, no, I want mine with milk." And the bottom line is I built relationships, and the final day when we almost didn't get the business, the chairman of the board happened to be walking by. I was in a meeting where they were going to tell me they were not going to buy my product. And he said, "Hi, Mike, how are you?" And I had known him by barging into his office with 2 cups of coffee and 2 cups of tea. And I said, "Well, Dan, these are your people. They're building a great product. I have one, and I was just about to offer them the opportunity to buy ours and use it only up until they get theirs going. And then we'd cancel it, the order, and it wouldn't cost you anything." And he said, "That's a great deal. We'll do that." And he walked out. And nobody had, that's the true story, nobody had any idea of how to say no, and that was our first customer.
People ask that it's 3 years from start to when we had our first customers. Our first customer was Merrill Lynch. They bought 20 terminals, and we sold them for, I think, $895. I remember doing the multiplication of the 20 terminals times 12 months times the revenue per month, the charge per month, and comparing that total number to whether or not we could pay the bills, and we were close to break even. But the first year, you go into it, everything's, you don't think about the downside. The second year is the difficult one. The third year, you see that that light at the end of the tunnel is not a train coming towards you, it really is the end of the tunnel. The middle year, when every 2 weeks I had to go to my checking account, take money, all the money that I'd made at Salomon Brothers, and put more money into the company's checking account so I could pay the salaries. One of the great stories we had, we were in a building on Park Avenue, the 9th floor. We started out with 2/3 of it. Eventually, we got the whole floor. And in one corner and sort of around the corner of the building was our sales office. It was like a double or triple wide office. We'd taken out the walls in the middle, and we didn't have enough room. So I went in on a Saturday morning with a couple people and brought a saw, and we literally cut the ends off the returns on the desks, shortened them by a foot or two, and then screwed them back in and put in a few more desks. And it was fascinating. On Monday, people came in and said, they moved the desks around. And it took a while before somebody realized, my God, there's more desks here than before. And then a little while longer before they realized the desks were shorter.
Awesome.
But you can always take my advice to an entrepreneur is don't overexpand. It's a nice problem to have of not having enough space. It's a very bad problem to have too much.
Somebody's thinking about starting a company versus, let's say, joining a big company?
I think there's an awful lot more commonality than people think. It's hard work. It's being willing to stand up for what you believe. Yes, big companies have more structure, but you have a little more security. Small companies, a lot less structure, but a lot higher payoff. In public service, the payoff isn't in dollars, it's in satisfaction. I would suggest trying all three. I mean, that's what I've done. Now, maybe I was particularly lucky, and I think there was a lot of luck. There's always luck in everything. If you have a vision and you want to go do it, do it. The one thing, I'm not smarter than anybody else, but I can outwork you. And my key to success for you or for anybody else is make sure you're the first one in there every day and the last one to leave. Don't ever take a lunch break or go to the bathroom. You keep working. You never know when that opportunity is going to come along. You can't control your luck, but the harder you work, the luckier you get. You can't control that you're the smartest guy. There'll always be somebody smarter. But if you're there, then you absorb things, you put things together in ways that if you didn't have all that experience, it's like skiing. I've said, reading a book on skiing doesn't teach you how to ski.
Yeah.
You got to go and you got to ski and get lots of miles under your skis. And incidentally, if you don't fall, you're not skiing hard enough and you're not learning anything. So if your career has ups and downs, I got fired, didn't turn out so bad, but you can start a little business and maybe it doesn't work, and after a while you got to be smart enough to say, hey, I tried it. Don't let your ego get in the way. I can't keep doing this. I've got to earn a living. But a year from now I'm going to come up with a better idea, and then I'll go back and do it again. And have that drive to look at the bright side. And with the exception of, there's never been a day that I haven't looked forward to going into work. Even the days I knew I was going to get beaten up, even the day I knew I was going to get fired. I'd never been fired before. I wonder what it's like. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go find out.
Yeah.
And I've never looked back. Successful people look to the future, and unsuccessful people look to the back, look behind them.
It's been my philosophy through my career that small businesses get to be big businesses because you work harder and because you focus on your customers. And that's what we've done. Listen to your customers, pick up the phone and call them and say, I'm Mike Bloomberg. We're lucky enough to have you as a customer. I just want to say thank you. Is there anything we can do to make your life better? People want you to ask them. People want to talk to you. They want to think that you really care. And most businesses don't. They keep focusing on trying to reduce their costs, and I think you should focus on trying to increase your revenues. And if you have some money, spend some of it on making your customers more happy, because that's where you're going to go in the future. They're the ones that are going to tell other people that you might sell something to, that you have a great product and that you are a great business person.
To really get ahead is to give credit to somebody else. When I say, oh, I didn't do it, Lloyd did that and he involved me, let me tell you, I'm telling everybody it's me as well, but I've now made a friend and you respect me because I've shared the credit. And if you say, no, me, I, nobody likes you. And nobody respects you, and they think you are exaggerating everything. But to the extent you give credit to elsewhere, the thought of, are they exaggerating, doesn't even come up.